Good afternoon. My name is Mary Frances Hobbs, and I am a certified Feldenkrais practitioner, which means I went to Baltimore for 4 years to train to help people to move easier. I'm here today because I've been thinking about breathing. With all the issues dealing with COVID, we're all wondering, how are our lungs doing and how are we breathing? And the more I thought about that, the more I remembered what I'd learned from all my training, that the whole body works together and that your nervous system controls a lot of what happens with breathing. So we're going to do a lesson today, and I'm not going to talk a whole lot about breathing, but I want you at times to pay attention to your breathing. But let me tell you how we're going to do this lesson. This is probably different than you've done before. I need you to make a place for yourself on the floor. If you have a carpet and you want to stretch out on the carpet, that's fine. Make sure you bring with you a couple of nice thick towels. They're going to go under your head in case you need them. Because we don't want a pillow. A pillow has a rounded surface. So find a nice place. I'm going to give you a break. Find a nice place on the floor. Don't lie on the floor yet, just get it ready and come back. And when you're ready, I'll give you a few more minutes, come back to where you can hear me and just stand, because we're going to start with just a minute or two of standing to build awareness. Now, Karen has been kind enough to let me do this as a small series, so we will do this again. So whatever you found to lie on the floor today, we'll use again. And you will try out what works best for you under your head. But let me tell you a few things about doing a Feldenkrais lesson. Number one, always do less than you can. Always do less than you can. Number two, go slow. Number three, no pain, no pain. If something hurts, don't do it. We don't believe in pain. So if something hurts, when you're trying to move it today, do it smaller. And if it still hurts, do it in your imagination. Your wonderful brain will still function and get your nervous system working. Now, this lesson we're doing today is part of awareness through movement. So what we're doing is to build your awareness. There is no right and no wrong, and I don't demonstrate. You're going to try things, you're going to see what moves, and we're always going to look for the easy movement. So if you will start standing up for just a minute, and what I'd like you to do is see how your feet feel on the floor. Maybe you haven't thought about that in a while. Compare how your left foot is resting on the floor to the right one. And just for curiosity, because curiosity is a big part of the Feldenkrais movement, look at your feet and see if one is a little more forward than the other. Don't change anything, just look. And then walk a few steps, not far, just a few steps, and see how your left foot is striking the floor and how your right foot is striking the floor. Just a few steps. And then come back to your place. Stand comfortably and slowly turn and look over your left shoulder. Let as much of your body turn with you as you want, and come back to the center. And then even slower, turn to the right. And again, let as much of your body move with you as you want. Very nice. Come back to the center. And I want you to do that one more time and notice where you stop when you turn to the left with your eyes, what point in the room. And then where you stop when you turn to the right. And is one easier than the other? And it may change from day to day. And then take your time and slowly get down on the floor and put whatever support you need under your head. You're going to lie on your back. And if you can, for a minute, stretch your legs long. If that's terribly uncomfortable, you can bend them. But if you can stretch them long for just a minute, that would be great. Let your arms lie beside you on the floor. Notice your breathing, how you're breathing today. Is it coming mostly from your chest? So if you're just coming in, we're stretched out on the floor, on our backs, and just paying attention to our breathing. Easy does it. Easy does it. Now, if you have a tight belt on, or if you've got glasses or a watch on that you don't need, you can set those over to the side. And then take your attention to your right heel on the floor. And just notice where it touches the floor so it tells you how your foot is turned. And follow your attention up your right leg, slowly and easily. Sometimes our legs make contact with the floor. Sometimes they're working too hard and don't want to stop. So follow your attention up your right leg all the way to your right hip. And get a sense of your whole right leg. And then go to your left heel. Is it sitting on the floor differently? And follow your attention up your left leg to your left hip. Is your left hip heavier on the floor than the right one? And if it is, that's fine. That's how we are. Many of us are not symmetrical. There is a misnomer that we are the same left and right. Rarely happens. It's okay. We work fine just like that. And now let your attention come up your wide back. Notice how much arch is in your low back today. Move your attention up your back and up, follow your spine to your shoulders. And how are your shoulder blades contacting the floor today? Does one shoulder feel more comfortable than the other? And then ever so gently, without picking up your head at all, roll it a little to the left. Leaving your head on the floor, just roll it a little to the left. Nice and slowly, very good. Only go as far as it is easy and comfortable. And come back to the center. Very nice. And then roll it to the right. And notice which one gave you more range of motion. And don't judge. There's no judging in Feldenkrais because there's no right and wrong. And then let your head rest in the middle and slowly bend one knee and stand that foot on the floor. Now, where you put your foot might be a really good place, or it might not be the best place. So move your foot around a little in and a little out, just so you can get to a point where that knee doesn't feel like it has to fall in or out. It's just steady. And then bend your left knee and put that foot on the floor. And again, find a good place for that foot. And it's best if you have them about hip width apart. And boy, do some of us have interesting ideas of how wide our hips are. And just breathe for a minute. Now, I'm going to tell you what I want you to do next before you start anything. So just rest there for a minute. I'm going to ask you to push on your right foot. And as you do that, it is going to lift your right hip a little from the floor, or it's at least going to make it lighter on the floor, and your weight will shift a little to the left. Now, depending on how much freedom you have in your pelvis, this may be a tiny little movement, or it may be a medium-sized movement. And we don't care which way it goes. Try it now. Push on your right foot a little and feel your weight shift a little bit to the left. And then come back. Then push on that right foot again and feel that weight just slide over. I tell people to imagine that you have a pitcher of sand sitting on your right hip, and as you push on your right foot, that sand pours to the left. And then you come back. That little shift of weight is beginning to find a way to move your pelvis. That major connection between your left and right hip. So you're pushing on that right foot just a little bit and shifting your weight and then letting it come back. If there is any pain in doing this, do it smaller or imagine it. Feldenkrais work is for your nervous system. And your nervous system will still function if you don't move anything and you just think about moving it. That's the lovely part of this. If you have arthritis pain like I do, and on a bad day you can't do part of a lesson, you can just think it through and still get the benefit of it. All right, and stop, leaving your feet and legs just the way they are, and breathe for a minute. And as you inhale, feel your sternum right down the middle of your chest go a little closer to the ceiling. And as you exhale, feel that sternum sink towards your spine and go closer to the floor. Just a nice, easy breath. We have lots of rest in a Feldenkrais lesson. It's not because you're tired, it's because your nervous system needs to catch up with what you're doing and pay attention to it. But they're short rests. So now let's go to the left foot and begin pushing a little on the left foot, pushing that left foot against the floor and shifting your weight ever so gently to the right. Remember that idea of pouring sand? So you're pushing on the left foot and your weight is shifting to the right. And then you let it roll back and you breathe. Every movement is done separately. We move, and then we stop and breathe, and then we move again. So try that again. Nice, easy roll to the right, and then back. And stop and stretch out your legs if you're comfortable doing that. And as you're just lying there breathing soft and easily, you might notice if anything feels different in how your hips contact the floor or your low back. These little tiny movements of pushing your foot seem very insignificant, but in fact, they may have changed something already. It's during these rest periods that your nervous system notices differences. And the key is that once your nervous system notices a difference, it can act on it. And your nervous system is part of this wonderful process that we're learning more and more about now that tells us that no matter how many years we have or how many birthdays we've celebrated, our nervous system can still change and learn. And from somebody who's celebrated a lot of birthdays, that's good news to me. All right, slowly bend one knee and stand that foot, and then the other. And now take your right hand across your chest, line it on your chest, and put it under your left armpit. Put your right hand under your left armpit, if you can reach that far. If not, just put it across your chest. And kind of hold on to the ribs over there. And then take your left hand across your chest and put it under your right armpit. So you're hugging yourself. Not a bad thing to do. And now push on your right foot again. Let your hips shift to the left, just like you did before, and come back. Now this time when you push on your right foot, think of pulling with your left hand those ribs up to the air a little bit so that you're rolling your chest with your hips. You're pushing on your right foot, you're rolling your hips to the left, and you're using your left hand to pull your right ribs up a little bit and then come back. So your weight is shifting in your hips and your weight is shifting over to your left ribs a little bit. And then come back. And notice as you do this small roll, is your head rolling a little bit? Your hips and your shoulders are rolling to the left. Is your head rolling a little to the left with it? Don't roll your head on purpose. Just see if your spinal column can move your head for you. And if you had a little difficulty at the beginning of the lesson rolling your head to the left, is it easier when your body rolls with you? It's a nice, easy roll. It's something I do sometimes in the afternoon if I'm tired or achy. My shoulders, my hips are all rolling to the left, and then I just roll back and breathe. Nice, easy movement. You're pushing on that right foot. Your left knee for sure is going to roll to the side. Just enjoy that soft, easy rolling. You're showing your nervous system that this kind of movement is possible without pain. And if you're moving an inch, that's plenty. If you're moving more, that's fine too. Okay, when you get back to the center, stop. You might leave your knees bent if you'd like. Put your arms down by your sides. And just think of this curious question. Does my right shoulder feel any different on the floor now than the left one? And breathe. And just another curious question, as you breathe in, is there a little more space on the right side from having rolled those ribs? And the answer may be yes or no, or in Feldenkrais, The most popular answer is, I don't know yet. And that's fine. We have to realize we don't know sometimes what we don't know. So now if you've straightened your legs, bend your knees again and put your arms across your chest again, just like you did before. One hand under one armpit on the ribs and one hand on the other side, if you can reach that far. Whatever reaching you can do, do. And begin to push on your left foot. Start by letting your left hip shift to the right. Notice how that works. And then begin to pull a little bit with your right fingertips on your right ribs to lift them up towards the ceiling, so that as your hips roll to the right, your shoulder and chest can roll to the right, and see if your head rolls with it. The initiation of the movement works nicely if you can do them together. So your hip starts to move at the same time as your shoulder. Do that a couple of more times and just enjoy the movement of your whole spine. Notice what parts of your spine you can feel turning. You're using your foot to turn the lower spine. You're using your arms to turn the upper spine. And is your head going with it to the right? Just notice. Don't change anything. And then stop in the middle and put your arms down by your sides. Straighten your legs out if you're comfortable doing that. And just breathe. And again, another question for your curiosity. Is there any difference now in how your left shoulder contacts the floor? And is there any difference in your low back against the floor? And then slowly bend your knees again, one at a time. Stand your feet. But this time, leave your legs still. Put your arms across your chest. And can you do it the opposite way you did before? Do you remember which arm was on top? Can you flip them? If it's not comfortable, you don't have to, but try it. It's sort of interesting to do it differently. And now with your legs still, can you do a small, notice the word small, rolling just by pulling on your ribs a little and rolling your shoulders a little to the left and a little to the right. It will be a small movement. It will be an easy movement. Do not jerk your shoulder up. You will do all kinds of ugly things to your neck. Just do a little tiny rolling of your shoulders, a little to the left, a little to the right. And they may not even leave the floor. That's okay. It may be that they just get lighter on one side and heavier on the other. Just a little turning. Does that turn your head a little bit? Your feet are staying still. Your knees are staying still. We're isolating the movement of your upper spine. Easy does it. Very nice. And now stop in the middle and take a breath. And then add the foot pressure with it, just like you did before. Press on your right foot and lift your right shoulder. Come back to the center, press on your left foot, roll your left shoulder. Don't try to make the two sides equal. They may not be, and that's okay. Just do what you can do. The change that comes from these little movements you're doing today is often a lasting change because your nervous system is learning. We call these lessons rather than exercises. As your nervous system learns, it can overcome habits that you may have developed over many years that rose out of pain or discomfort or injury. Now pause in the middle, leave your knees bent, let your hands slide away from your chest till your elbows touch the floor. Let your hands rest on your ribs and your elbows rest on the floor. Okay? So your arms and shoulders aren't working now, they're just there for information. Make sure you have contact with at least 1 or 2 ribs with your thumb and first finger. Don't push hard on them, just feel them. And then lying on the floor with your knees bent, elbows on the floor and your fingers on your ribs, slowly push on your right foot to shift your hips to the left. And come back. And then push on your left foot to shift your hips to the right and come back. And what you're doing is feeling how the ribs move. And it's going to be an interesting process to see if you can tell, is there more movement in your ribs on the right than on the left? And you may say what we often say, I don't know, I can't tell yet. But at least continue the movement, pushing on one foot and then the other, shifting your pelvis left and right, and notice that the ribs do move a little. And that is a wonderful thing, because the more freedom there is in your ribs, the more capacity you have in your lungs. And heavens, we all need that right now. And stop and put your arms down by your sides, and if it's comfortable, straighten your legs. And see if the work that you have done for yourself today so far has made a difference in how you can give your weight to the floor. And also notice how your breathing is. As you inhale, that sternum goes up towards the ceiling and you get volume available in your lungs. And as you exhale, it sinks down towards your spine. And is all the movement in your chest, or is there any movement in your belly as you breathe in and out? That may sound strange, but sometimes if we can free up that space down by the diaphragm, you actually feel your belly move a little bit. And then slowly take your attention from your breathing and bend one knee and stand that foot. And then bend another knee and stand that foot. Again, find a comfortable place for your feet to be so your legs are comfortable being bent. And just keeping everything else still And resting, can you roll your head a little left and then back to center and a little right? And see if there's been any change in that. By bringing other parts of the body into movement, is the rolling of the head a little easier? And stop in the center. And now keeping your head quiet, which means not stiff, but still. Put your arms across your chest again, one arm under one armpit, holding on to ribs, and one arm under the other. And roll yourself from your feet, but keep your head quiet and still. As you push on your right foot, you'll feel your right shoulder move a little bit, but your head will stay focused up towards the ceiling and still. Move a quarter of an inch. It's a little roll. Then push on the left foot. If this tiny little movement feels smooth, which is the quality we're looking for, then you can make it a little bigger. We're looking for an impression of light movement, easy movement. That's what we can carry into the rest of our day. That light and ease reduces wear and tear on joints and often reduces pain. If you strain to do more because you think you need to do more, you'll carry that with you, and we don't want that. And stop in the middle. Leave your knees bent. Put your arms down by your sides. And slowly open your eyes and look up at the ceiling. And then leaving your head still, but not stiff, begin to take your eyes very slowly from the middle of the ceiling to the left. If there's a wall there, look over to the left wall and take your eyes left as far down that wall as you can without straining. So you start with your eyes in the center and you let them go down the side to the left, and then bring them back up that left wall and back to the center above you. And then take your eyes slowly, slowly, slowly to the right. Your head stays in the middle. Now, you don't get any special gold stars for going farther. You don't want eye strain. You want to do this easy and light. Come back to the center for a minute and close your eyes. With your eyes closed, think of them as two round balls floating in a pool of water. If you can have your eyes soft and easy and floating, then this movement will be beneficial to you. So let your eyes float in that pool of water. Soft, easy eyes. And now slowly open your eyelids. Look up at the center of the ceiling. And now with soft eyes, go to the left. Easy does it. And back to the center. And then slowly to the right, making an arc. Do it without a sense of strain or effort. And then come from the right back up to the center. Is one side easier for you than the other? Rest and close your eyes for a minute. Neurologically, the movement of your eyes is very closely connected to the movement of your head. Usually when we start to look at something, we move the head and then the body to follow it. You are doing this separately. You are breaking it down into parts. So try one more time. Open your eyes and do a soft arc to the left. Back up to the center. And then a soft arc to the right. And then come back to the center and close your eyes. And if one direction with the eyes was easier than the other, with your eyes closed, take them to that direction, whether it's left or right, doesn't matter. We'll call it direction 1. So you're taking your eyes to the left corner or the right corner, and you're going to leave them there. Now, keeping your eyes in that corner, push on first your right foot to roll to the left, and then your left foot to roll to the right. But your eyes are staying to the corner. So your head may not move very much. That's okay. Make the pushes little and easy. You're rolling your body a little left and right, but your eyes are staying in one corner. And then stop in the middle and rest. When we have been carrying tension in our neck or upper back, in our jaw, or those 6 muscles around each eye, it can really affect how the eyes move. And by doing little easy movements with the eyes, we can sometimes find those areas, take a nice slow breath, and release some of that tension. By differentiating the eye movements, sometimes the upper back, neck can become softer and easier too. Now, put your arms across your chest like you're hugging yourself as we did earlier. And take your eyes to the other corner, whichever one you didn't do the last time. And begin to push with one foot and then the other, but leave your eyes in the other corner. It may be tricky to do that at first. I can tell you many times I've started a new lesson like this and I'll go, what am I doing? And I'll stop, I come back to the center, I take a breath, that's fine. I think, okay, my eyes go to the corner, my arms are across my chest, and then I gently push with one foot and the other. So my head is rolling a little, but my head's not rolling very much. Notice how your ribs push against the floor on one side and then the other. Enjoy the movement. Now, bring your eyes back to the center, stretch out your legs, stretch out your arms, and just rest. Just rest. So you're lying on the floor long and easy. Notice how now your ribs may actually spread to the left and right more as you inhale and slide back closer together as you exhale. Now, bend your knees and stand your feet one at a time. Put your arms across your chest. And this time we're going to roll sequentially. Start by taking your eyes to the right, then your head to the right, then bring your shoulders to the right, then your hips to the right. So we're doing one step at a time. The eyes go first, which your body likes. Your brain will be happy with that. Your eyes go to the right, your head goes to the right. You pull a little on your left ribs, and then you push on your left foot, and your hips go to the right, and then you come back to the center. And then try that on the other side. Take your eyes to the left, your head to the left, your shoulders to the left, and your hips to the left. Take it slow. Take time to learn how each part works independently from the other. If you are rolling farther and your fingers are touching the floor, you can slide them out on the floor if you go that far, but that's not really important. And now come back to the center and let's reverse it. Start by pushing on your right foot and feel the twist lower down. Then twist your shoulders so they go to the left. Then take your head to the left, and last, take your eyes to the left. Roll back to the center, and then push on your left foot and take your hips to the right, then your shoulders to the right, then your head to the right, and then your eyes to the right. Try doing this with your eyes closed on each side. And then with your eyes open, looking up and down the wall as you turn. And now stop in the center. Leave your knees bent. Put your arms down by your side. And once again, open your eyes looking at the ceiling and take them down to the left side and arc up to the center and over to the right side, and see if your eyes are moving any easier and have a wider range or on one side or the other. Just notice, is there a difference in how your eyes move and how far they move? Very nice. Now straighten your legs out, straighten your arms out, and just enjoy how you are contacting the floor. Sometimes we say after a Feldenkrais lesson, the floor gets softer, because we're not holding so many parts of our body and can let them absorb the support of the floor better after little tiny movements. How are your heels on the floor now? And where are they? How about your lower legs and your thighs? How is the weight distribution between your left hip and your right hip? How is your low back now? And how about the broad expanse of your back leading up to your shoulders? And then just for curiosity, can you roll your head a little left and a little right and see how that turns on the floor? How is your breathing now? Has it become faster or slower? Is it shallower or deeper? Just notice. And then, remembering how you were rolling, bend your knees and stand your feet. This lesson is a lovely one to use when you're getting out of bed or when you're getting up from the floor. Decide which side you want to roll to and push on the opposite foot to roll your hips, and then lift the shoulder to roll your shoulders so that you can roll to your side and gradually and slowly and easily come to sitting and to standing. Take your time. And stand somewhere near where you were standing when we started. Wherever you were before, find your about the same place. And with your arms just hanging soft by your side, turn yourself left and right. And notice what's turning with you. How does that motion feel? What is your range now? Lovely. And then walk a little bit and see if just this gentle rolling changed how you walk. How heavy your steps are, how wide your gait is. Just notice. And then take your right hand across your chest and put it on your left shoulder and give yourself a pat on the back for spending some time taking care of yourself today. Thank you for being part of this Feldenkrais lesson. I'm glad to have you here with me. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. The very best follow-up to a Feldenkrais lesson is either a gentle walk or a nap. That gives your nervous system time to process what it just noticed. So if you can take a nap, or if you can take a gentle walk somewhere, do that and let all these new things you learned settle into your nervous system. Thank you for being a part of this lesson.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you very much, Mary.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I feel good.
Thank you.
That's good. This one, I like this one because if you have 10 minutes, you can get down on the floor and do that gentle push with your feet and begin to soften tightness all the way up and down your spine. Even if you don't do the whole lesson, just remember a piece of it and go with it.
I will.
Any questions? Any questions for Mary?
No questions. I just like to comment that I've had a retinal detachment in surgery several years ago, and I noticed a major change doing the eye work.
There's a whole series of eye lessons
Yeah.
that was written by David Weber, who was legally blind and came to Feldenkrais and then began to notice his sight was coming back and developed a whole series. And one fall, I taught all 6 of those lessons. And that concept of thinking of your eyeball as a ball floating in a pool of water is one of the best things you can do for your whole body.
Mm-hmm.
Because it softens these 6 muscles, which connect to here, which connect to here, which connect to here, and jaw and all of that. And sometimes I actually had some dizziness one morning about a week ago. And when I woke up, I went, ooh, I'm not standing up so well. And I laid back down and did an eye lesson and just let my nervous system find its place. And it really helps.
Mm-hmm.
Helps with headaches, helps with sinus problems, helps with all of that stuff.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that's some of the vertigo training is the eye work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
You're welcome. I enjoy doing it.
I have to tell you, I have a sprained rotator cuff,
Ooh.
left side.
Yeah.
So I noticed when we were rolling from side to side that I was protecting that left side.
Mhm.
So I wasn't going as far. But as I started to feel more comfortable in the roll, I was able to relax that shoulder. So
Good.
I'm
Don't
gonna-
ever go into pain.
yeah.
If you're doing this roll, don't go into pain. You can go halfway and say, okay, I'm going to imagine that I'm rolling all the way over here.
Okay. Okay.
And your nervous system will take you there and back. And then the next time you'll go just a little bit farther.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good for
That's-
you.
First time I was stopped, the pain stopped me because I thought, uh-oh, that's too far. And then
Mhm.
the next time I went further over. So,
Well, and when you use your whole body, this shoulder doesn't have to do so much work.
exactly.
Those big muscles of the hips will help that roll come. So yeah, good, good, good for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Mary? Mary's going to be back next month in July, along with Talia. Talia will be at 1 and Mary will be at 2. And that's who we have for July. So, yeah. And I see Belinda's eyes. Talia will be on Zoom. You will be on Zoom.
How's she gonna do that? Can you
I can come and see. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. All right, everybody. If there are no more questions, I think we've had a wonderful clinic today. And Mary, did you want to say anything to close us out, or should I just say goodbye to everybody? Have any final last words for us?
Go get some rest.
I like the
Let
nap.
that
Yes.
Let that blessing stick.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Well, Shirley,
Thank you, everyone.
Mary, Belinda, thank you. Guys, it's been awesome. Have a wonderful day. Get some rest.